All right, I see a few people joining. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining today's webinar with Rybbon and Nebu. We'll wait just a few minutes for folks to hop on and get started here shortly. We're about a minute out, so I'll just repeat myself here. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. You are on the correct webinar with Rybbon and Nebu. We'll just wait a few minutes for everyone to get settled and jump on, and we'll get started here in just a minute or two. All right, it is the top of the hour and we've got quite a few folks on, so we'll go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Rita Khan. I am the marketing manager over at Rybbon, and I'll serve as the moderator. I'll start things off by saying that I hope everyone out there is doing well, and we appreciate you making the time to join us. I do have just a few housekeeping notes to get through before we get started. If you weren't already aware, you are eligible to receive a $10 Rybbon reward for attending today's webinar. Just make sure you attend the whole session so that Zoom can correctly capture your attendance, and keep an eye out on your email over the next few days so that you don't miss your reward. You can expect the webinar to last about half an hour with time reserved at the end for Q&A. So please go ahead and leave your questions in the chat and we'll do our best to get to them at the end. With that said, we are very excited to be doing this webinar in partnership with Nebu. John Rousay, the Director of Sales at Nebu, will kick things off with some best practices around creating an awesome panel experience for your members. John has worked in the market research industry for longer than he'll admit to in both the UK and the United States, and is now based in Brooklyn, New York. He also tells me he's very close to being in last place in the list in line for the throne. So that's very exciting. John, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, Rita, and hello, everyone. Yes, I'm here in Brooklyn, New York. For those of you in the northeast of the United States, we've had a kind of long and cold winter, but today is a very balmy 64 degrees, which for those of you who prefer Celsius is about 18, I think. So it's very, very nice, a big change. Where I'm actually from in Scotland, 64 would be considered a heat wave. And when it gets up to 70, they call in the army and people are told to stay indoors. Thank you very much for joining today's webinar with Rybbon and Nebu. We're looking forward to telling you about the joint venture that we've got going together, as well as some functionality of one or two of our products. And just before I get started, I just wanted to say, to repeat what kind of Rita said, I hope everyone is doing well and your loved ones are safe and healthy. We've been, I don't know, about a year into this pandemic. And in fact, just about a 20-minute walk from where I am at the moment, we had the Quirks annual conference last year, around about exactly a year ago. And after that, things pretty much shut down, schools, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully things will get back to some sort of normality within a couple of months, fingers crossed. So in terms of Nebu, just to put everything into some kind of context, we've been going for around 28 years. It says there that we're ISO 27001 certified, which is nice to have, but we're a sort of well-established company. And we have 6 main products within our suite that we have, and we're going to show you one or two of those. Some other numbers there, we're operational in more than 30 countries with over 125 clients. And it says there we've done 35 million hours of interviewing. I don't know if someone has sat down and actually added that all up, but you get the idea. We've done a lot of projects over the years. And we'll now look at some of the things that we do. 3 main categories: collect, manage, and utilize. And if you look towards the bottom left-hand corner, data collection. For collecting, we have a thing called Dub Interviewer, and that's a multi-mode data collection platform, multi-mode within projects and also within interviews, telephone, online, face-to-face. That really is our bread and butter tool that we have. We also have Nebu Data Hub for data management, and we have Nebu Reporter for dashboards and those kind of things. So that's really, we have a lot of things going on. And just above where it says Dub Interview, we have 2 other things as part of that platform. We have a dialer, which is provided by a company called Sitel. And then we have Nebu Panel Manager. Now, we've had Panel Manager for a number of years. We've just recently received released a brand new and improved. It sounds like kind of cat food or something, but it is new and improved. We've just recently released it, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. And it's with this platform that we've done this integration with Rybbon. So that's what we're going to be looking at. Now, within Panel Manager, we have sort of 3 parts, really. We have the building of the panels, the recruiting of members, and the collection of data. We have the maintenance of those panels, managing and activating the panels themselves. And then we have the whole area of utilizing and really making use of the data to maximize profits. This is quite a busy chart, and I'm actually going to move on with my colleague Malgorzata. We were wondering about what to use for the presentation. And we decided that we would go on and just explain it really by looking at some of the best practices for driving high engagement. So in terms of this, it's, I don't know, a bit of a soccer ball really, but number 1 on the list at the top there, multiple recruitment methods. So if we then go on to the next slide, we'll see that we have a sort of a busy chart, just giving you an idea of some of the ways that we are able to recruit panelists, or at least customers are able to recruit panelists. Now, in fact, if we go on to the next slide, this is a sort of different way. My colleague Malgorzata wasn't too happy with the slide. I don't know whether it looks a little bit like the COVID compound in a way, but that's maybe the reason. But you can see there, the main way is to use the Panel Manager platform to do recruitment. We can also have member portals, external surveys, system surveys, etc., etc. Lots of different ways of recruiting members for panels. We can also do it through the website here. Now, this is an example of a portal, a member portal that's been created, and here an individual can register. Now, we're going to show you some other slides of this portal, and this is actually something we're going to invite you all to join after today's webinar. So I would encourage you to do so. It's about coffee, as you can probably gather. And you can see there that you can either use a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop, whatever you want. Number 2, functional and appealing member portals. I've already touched on member portals. If we go on to the next slide, this is what I was talking about. Welcome to the coffee portal. You can see some of the menus there. About us, about the demo, registering, logging in, rewards. Rewards obviously is a big part of what we're doing today. You're only going to get a little sort of sneak preview, but you'll get an idea as to what is possible. So again, welcome to the coffee portal. This is now someone logged into the portal. So now the menus have changed. So for Malgorzata, who was the individual who was logged in, we have surveys, profile information, points, obviously, which is important for all panelists, as well as support. So profile surveys, by completing these surveys, they help us to include you to research targeted to your profile more accurately. This is where you're going to be able to basically look at what you've completed. Check the surveys. You can go back and look again to see what you did here. This is an example of some of the surveys here that Małgorzata has completed. This is the Nebu research surveys here. Again, this is another way that this can be used, and you can see the different ways of being able to utilize surveys within the platform. As mentioned before, CATI, online, mobile, we have hybrid modes, face-to-face, as well as PAPI. I'm not sure if that particular acronym is used very often, but obviously meaning for paper surveys. Engaging members by sharing results. This kind of looks like what an administration person might see, but in fact, this is what the panelists can look at. So we can make this available. Again, it gets them more sort of involved really in the whole process. Number 3, this is really the crux of what we're doing today, flexible points to rewards. It says there as a solution and also for beating screener fatigue, but really as a panelist, they want to know that they're being properly rewarded for what they're doing. And this is really where Rybbon comes into play. Okay, so Małgorzata has 3,200 points. And this is giving you a sort of history of what has actually been done here. Made a purchase in the reward gallery. So 1,000 points, extra compensation points, etc. Again, it just gives you a timeline of activity as far as the membership is concerned. This is something here where, now what we're looking at here is the platform that the administrator, the person running the panel, is going to see. This is not available to the panelist. Aside from being able to assign points for the completion of surveys, for being over quota, or for screening out, you can also see down the left-hand side, we have some of the other areas that are available within the platform itself. So we have ticketing, we have field management, we have profile survey statistics. There's a lot of stuff going on. So this is a really full featured product that we have here. Now, timely and global digital rewarding a selection. This is what the panelists will see when they log in to redeem the points that they have. This is an example of what Rybbon are bringing to the table. Different rewards available in different parts of the world. This is just an example of 6 different things that can be selected. Donations, it could be, you know, Starbucks, it could be Amazon cards, whatever you want to choose. And again, there's a lot of flexibility as to what is available. And again, here, this is just saying what has actually happened once the selection has been made. Okay, again, integrated instant digital rewarding. This is, again, the administrator's area where you can see, and things can either be, you know, approved or rejected. So this is something that is in place, again, just to make sure that everything is being managed properly. Made a purchase in the reward gallery, compensation, etc. We'll go on to the next slide now. We're on to number 4, building a trustworthy and lasting relationship with members. The best way, aside from the rewards, is having an inbuilt ticketing system. This is what we have within the platform. So you're a panelist, you have a problem, you want to make a comment about something, send a ticket into the system. Again, what this is doing, this is built into the member portal. And so from here, this is now a list of all of the tickets. And you can see there's a lot of options here. We have the state of that particular ticket, the type, the priority, the last activity, the sender. And so you have dialogue back and forth with all of the panelists. This is a very, very nice, but a very, very important feature that we have here. And again, here, effective and efficient, no unattended cases. So everything is easily dealt with. You can forward it, you can assist, you can reply, and you can really deal with everything. And then we'll move from there on to, there's just a couple of slides here, just looking at some of those areas in the bottom right corner, the type, the priority, and the state. What is the current state as of right now of a given ticket? And finally, on to number 5 there, the final part of this, which is sharp insights into the health of the panels and the performance. What we have here really is a screen full of numbers. And I think we were toying with the idea of having a little quiz at the end of this webinar just to check that people were paying attention, but in fact, we're not going to do that. But you can see here, there's a lot of different options here. What it's done here is to split out the panel into region. So this particular one, Austria, Germany, and French-speaking Switzerland. Panel size, you have churn rate. Again, a lot of different options for you there. And the next one is a kind of similar thing, but you also have some graphical representations of all of this. And again, we'll just flick through there and go on to the next bit there. That's really all I wanted to say. Just finally, we wanted to talk a little bit about the what we call our ecosystem. We do a lot of things ourselves, but also we work with a lot of specialist companies who do things that maybe we cannot do. So as I mentioned at the start there, we have Sitel here for our dialer. In terms of reporting, we have Daprasy and Data Smoothie. Rybbon, of course, for panel rewards. Data Expert is a very important partner of ours for help with all facets of surveys in terms of programming, scripting, DP, a very important part of what we do. And if you do work with Nebu at any point, you'll certainly be aware of Data Expert. And we also have a handful of resellers around the place. That's pretty much it from me. Thank you very much for listening. We're going to be fielding, I think, some questions at the end of the webinar. For now, I'm going to hand you back to Rita, and then we'll kick off the second part of the webinar. So again, thank you very much indeed, and thank you for listening.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Up next, we've got Kristina Argiroff, the Director of Sales over at Rybbon. Kristina will be discussing best practices around using points to rewards to recruit, retain, and engage panel members. As a Director of Sales for Rybbon, she leads the customer success and the sales team to provide value to the digital incentives industry. She has over 7 years of experience in SaaS sales, developing and creating ROI for a variety of buyers and products. And with that said, I'll go ahead and pass the floor over to Kristina.
Thank you, Rita, and thank you, John. Unlike John, I am not in line for any throne or anything like that. So my accolades are a little bit different. But I do want to talk a little bit about the points side of managing panels, because it is really important to have points when you want a successful panel that's engaged. But the best practices that I'll share today, they're just based on, our experience working with more than 21,000 rewards programs at over 1,200 companies. We have sent over 2.8 million rewards all over the world. And as you can see on the right-hand side, we do integrate with several tech platforms, with our main one on today's topic being Nebu. And we work with many, many different types of companies and organizations, as you can see here in the middle. And all of them have very different rewarding needs. Many of you have panels and communities that you are already relying on for insights. And They're a great way to speed up the pace at which you conduct research and get results. And also in many cases, they can reduce the expenses that are associated with conducting research. And that's a big reason why many of you have invested in your own panels and communities, or maybe even helping your clients build their own for those very same reasons. But what we do find in many cases is that after a panel is initially launched, many panels struggle with recruiting participants. Maybe struggle, if you already recruit them, you struggle with keeping them engaged after the first 2 to 3 months. And there's that initial excitement to show up, complete those surveys, complete that activity. I call that the honeymoon phase. But a common struggle is how to get through that phase and keep your members engaged and engaged long term. And what we see are 3 common reasons why you may be struggling to get your panel engaged and responsive on an ongoing basis. One common reason is that your panel members might have no inherent motivation to participate in your panel. Even the best brands out there could initially attract really passionate customers to join their community, but they still need to give them a great reason to stay. And just providing feedback, making their voices heard, that can only take you so far in terms of continued participation. Another common reason is just poor engagement and lots of incompletes. And this can happen not just from lack of motivation, but it could also be that the activities you're asking your members to complete might be too challenging, or maybe they're too involved or too time consuming, and they might require a lot of attention. You might be asking them to complete complex surveys or qualitative activities, which they can't do or complete quickly or easily. So it's not really that uncommon to see poor engagement or lots of incompletes with these types of activities. And then the last piece is just fatigue, churn. You may be able to attract a group of passionate customers, but after a while, fatigue sets in. They have other priorities, they have a life, they have a job, and there's only so much time that they're willing to volunteer on a pro bono basis. That's just human nature. After a while, fatigue sets in and you see a lot of churn. So the good news is that a lot of these symptoms and a lot of these issues with recruiting and engaging your members can be addressed in a great degree with incentives. And just to explain the different terms, we have instant rewards, which are situations where you might say, please complete this survey and receive a $20 gift card. So it's very simple. On the other hand, we have the points to rewards program, which we'll talk a lot about today, where you first award respondents with points. So complete the survey and get 200 points. The respondent can then earn and accumulate more points by completing more surveys, more activities, and then down the road, they can redeem those points for rewards. So again, for today, we'll be focusing on the points to rewards programs. And points, they work very well for a variety of reasons. Firstly, they provide something akin to a high score. For example, on Reddit, users are commonly judged by how many karma points they have. And the higher the score, the greater the level and quality of their participation. This can provide a strong sense of accomplishment. Secondly, points provide a powerful way to attach rewards to specified points milestones. For example, you could say that when someone hits 300 points, they're eligible to receive a reward. We see points everywhere. People are collecting airline miles, trophies in video games, even people getting their coffee card stamped so that they can get their free coffee when that 10th stamp is stamped. The benefits are clear. People are naturally motivated by clear, unambiguous rewards, and points are a simple and effective way of doing this well over a long period of time. So with points, everyone can be a winner as long as they fulfill their end of the deal. So Rybbon's Points Joy has everything you need to award points, manage and track points, balances, and a points bank. And we provide 2 ways that your members can redeem those points for exciting rewards. We can do this either automatically, so automatic rewards where maybe they, once they hit a threshold of points, let's say 500 points, then they're automatically sent a choice of rewards to claim. Or we could do a reward gallery experience, which is what John was walking through earlier. And that's where it's more of a shopping experience. They can shop for the rewards using their points that are in their points bank, and they can choose when to redeem based on the awards that they've accumulated. And I'll walk through some of these capabilities and how they can help you potentially roll out a great points-based program for your panel or community. But first, I want to take a little bit of a step back, because a question that I get asked a lot is, how do I know what the right points to dollar value should be? And here's a little bit of a worksheet, where it can help you determine that. So we did recently release an ebook, and it really walks through providing a guide to building a points reward program. And what you'll find in that ebook is that, they're going to first have you first define the activities that you want your members to complete monthly and an estimate of how often they could get completed per month. So for this example, I want my members to refer customers, attend our online events, and create a blog post. Each of those activities, as you can see on this chart, has a different quantity tied to it on a monthly basis. So for example, we're looking at about 10 referrals per month, maybe 100 online events attended per month, and 5 blog posts per month. Once that's established, you then want to create your budget. So for today's example, I'm going to say my budget is $1,000 per month. Then you'll be able to evaluate how many points per dollar you can award within your budget. So in this example, I'm going to say 10 points per dollar. So that equates to 10,000 points for a $1,000 budget. You can play around with the numbers for each activity, but you ultimately want to make sure that they add up to your budget. So in this case, $1,000. So here I've added $50 for every customer referral, $4 for attending each online event, and $20 for creating each blog post. Once you have that information, then you can multiply the dollar value by 10, because it's $10 per dollar, or 10 points per dollar, and that will get you your points per activity per month. And if you want, you can even increase that number of points per dollar if you prefer. So I could say I want 100 points per dollar. And sometimes that can be helpful if you're looking to track lots of smaller activities where you want to award a more granular set of points, maybe logging into your product or using your product and things like that. So now that you have your activities defined, you have your budget, your quantities, which should include a buffer just to be safe, and your points per dollar value. This also leaves room to add additional activities in the future as well. So let's say that I want to add an activity for my members to answer questions on our forum. You could easily drop the customer referral value from maybe $50 down to $40, and that'll free up $100 per month for that activity. So if I think about 50 questions per month will be answered on our forum, then that leaves me $2 per question. But there are many, many, many activities that you can and should award points for. We have many customers and speak to many customers who will use points to award members for referring new members to your community or your product. And this is a great way to increase that recruitment and reduce costs for that. You can award points for submitting a survey or creating content, maybe even just interacting with other panel members. And something that John was speaking about earlier, and I hear this often, and this is the reason why many customers come to Rybbon, is that they have issues with screener fatigue. So maybe many of your panel members, they'll take screeners and then they won't get selected for the survey. And this could happen several times a week, a month, a year, but ultimately they're going to feel disappointed or discouraged, and then they're going to begin to disengage, and that's not what we want. So by awarding them with points for taking that screener, then they're going to feel appreciated for their time. They're going to want to continue to take those screeners, and they're going to feel like they're one step closer to receiving that reward. So now let me walk through a few screenshots inside of Rybbon, a couple of different screenshots that John walked through, so you guys will get a good picture here. And it's going to just show you how easy it is to manage and how it helps you create that extra engagement. So when you are starting or running a points program, it is crucial to have a system like Rybbon in place to provide you easy reporting and management of your community points and rewards. We are a points management solution. So this is a screenshot of just one of the reports inside of our platform. So here you can see, you can easily set the points to dollar value. You can easily see how many points each of your members have been awarded, how many points have been redeemed on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and many, many other data points as well. And that's kind of one of the administrative burdens that often keep people from rolling out a points-based rewards program. They always say, how are we going to keep track of points? Another burden, which is quite common, is how are we going to let our members know what their points balance is, or when they are awarded points, or when they redeem their points, and so on. So we simplify this by making that communication piece essentially automatic. So in PointsJoy, you can set up a very simple email notification, which is screenshotted here. You can set up that notification rule so that it can turn on to notify your members. You can customize this email, which is great. You can customize it with your own messaging, your own brand, and it goes out every single time you award points to any member in your panel. So this simple feature creates extra engagement, just because now your members are never in the dark with how many points do I have and when did I get awarded and why did I get awarded? They always have that insight there. And then another part of creating excitement and engagement in your panel is to provide a great selection of awesome rewards for your members to choose from. We have many reward options in Rybbon with a few categories that are listed here. We have many rewards that are suited specifically for the social distancing constraints that we're all living under today. As John says, hopefully not for long. We see the light at the end of the tunnel, but they have like Grubhub, DoorDash, PlayStation, HBO, Hulu, and others. We also have prepaid rewards that are sent around the world. And then we also have a lot of popular e-gifts like Amazon, Target, Walmart, iTunes, and many others as well. We even have donation options, as you saw during John's portion. And this is a great way to bring goodwill back to your brand, and even helps to speak to those that might be in the giving spirit. So everyone loves a choice, and these are rewards that will excite your community and urge them to come back and complete more and more surveys, more and more activities to ultimately receive these rewards. And then this is just the last slide. I know we're about a minute over, so I do apologize. The last slide I wanted to walk through and the last point I want to cover. We also have many customers who have panels and communities with members that are located all over the world. So we do make this very seamless and easy to reward globally. Inside of our reward gallery, each member will have the ability to select the country that they're located, and all of the available reward options will automatically populate as choices for them to select. So it's often very difficult if you're doing this on your own. You have to find rewards that work in the various countries. Think about Amazon.com versus Amazon.uk versus Amazon.ca. You also have to think about currency conversions. Sometimes deliverability can be unreliable, or it's just too much to keep up with the compliance and regulations and privacy laws such as GDPR in every single country that you're rewarding. So ultimately, Rybbon takes care of everything and automates that entire process so that all of your members globally can receive that seamlessly. And that is all I had to cover before we head into questions. Again, I apologize for being 2 minutes over, but I'll pass it back to you, Rita.
No worries. Yes, I do know we're 2 minutes over, but maybe let's 3 questions and then we'll try to cut things off at about 11:35, just to be respectful of everybody's time here. So I know we've got a lot of questions here. If we don't get to yours, we will do our best to answer them after the webinar. The first question here, I think either, Kristina, you or John could really answer. Zia would like to know, are the reward points for each panelist housed in Rybbon or within the panel management software, in this case, Nebu?
Yeah, I can take that as well. So we do have flexibility where you can host them in either platform. So you do have the ability to see on the Rybbon side what you can see on the Nebu side. So you'll always in both platforms have access to see how many points each member has, why they were rewarded, when they deducted those points, just to make it very easy and seamless.
Awesome. And then John, here's a question for you. Does Nebu cater to companies with smaller panels?
Absolutely. The whole Nebu platform really is completely scalable. So as far as panels are concerned, we can accommodate someone who just has a small startup panel of a few hundred panelists, all the way up to really almost an infinite number. And that could be multiple panels. It could be one large panel. We're really interested in the total number of panelists, but we can certainly cater to those who just are starting out or just have a small panel, and then they can build from there as they go.
Awesome. All right, jumping through here, Kristina, what happens to rewards that don't end up redeemed either because they got lost in the recipient's inbox or just forgotten? Can you resend them or get your money back, or how does that work?
Yeah, good question. So inside of the Rybbon platform, we do send 3 automatic reminders for your members to remember to claim these rewards. We also make it very simple to resend to the same email address, a different email address. But ultimately, there are a handful of rewards that will just go unclaimed. It's again human nature. Points Joy and a points to reward program is a very cost-effective solution to keeping engagement. So to kind of continue that same path, at Rybbon, we do provide 100% refunds for anything that does go unclaimed. You do have a limited budget, so we want to make sure that every single dollar you're sending is being well used. So if it's not claimed, it goes right back into your pocket to either repurpose for a different program or elsewhere.
Awesome. Okay, and John, we've got a question here. Are we able to use the Nebu panel with our current survey software program, whatever tool they might be using there, or would we have to program our surveys in Nebu to use the panel function?
Actually, there's an easy answer to that. I think with all of our products, we try to be flexible, because we know that there may be an instance where a company is able to kind of provide everything that a customer needs. But by the same token, most people like to use individual products. For example, they might do the data collection with one tool and all their analytics with another tool, something they've been using for years and years. So we need to make sure that we're flexible as far as that's concerned. So although we have a really nice integration between data collection and panel with Nebu, we are able to import data from other systems into the panel management system. So the answer is yes, we can handle that without any problem at all.
Fantastic. And in the same vein of that, that means that you could then use the panel manager and the data collection aspect either separately or together.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. They're both sort of autonomous. They can work together or individually. And it's really the same with data collection. Although we have different modes, we have telephone, face-to-face, online. Basically, a customer can use any of those modes whenever they want. So we're really looking at the total amount of time spent collecting data, regardless of where it comes from. And that gives a lot of flexibility to those who want to try something. A company may do mainly KD, but they might want to do some online studies. And again, we can handle those without any issue at all.
Fantastic. Well, I know we are about 7 minutes over time. I appreciate those of you that have stuck on with us. And I will let Kristina and John go. But before I do so, thank you both so much for your presentations. I think, with messages from the audience and just my personal perspective, all this content was super valuable. And I'm sure, any questions that the audience has, we can, address within our follow-ups as well.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining. We do have 2 email addresses down here. There's a lot of questions that we weren't able to get to, so I do apologize. But if you do want to reach out and get those questions answered, please feel free to reach out to these email addresses. And then I'm sure you can also expect some follow-up from both of our teams as well.
Thank you, Kristina. Awesome. Last word from me. Just I would urge you to join the member portal. We're going to send invitations out in the follow-ups. So I think it's something that you should do, and you'll hopefully be well rewarded with what you see. But thank you again for your time today.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.